What's wrong with most parenting instruction?
Welcome to Parenting Matters Now, a source of parenting advice a few minutes at a time.
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Smith with Parenting Matters Now. A lot of instruction I hear about the parent-child relationship is rooted in technique. Technique of you do this step, then that step, and then the next step, and leads you to this result. And there's so many instructions on how to get your child to do, fill in the blank. How to get your child, and that language says that there is a method, a technique, a practice that will change your child, make your child a better child. And so I call that technique-driven parenting. And I'm going to give you some techniques today that is different, and I give you some examples. In fact, there's a book here that's out of print, and I want to show it to you. It's called The 1 Minute Father. And it's written by Dr. Spencer Johnson, and he's written a lot of business type books. But in this, you will see that the technique that he speaks of in The 1 Minute Father is rooted in a relationship. And I will say that relationship always trumps technique. Relationship always trumps technique. And so there are some ways, there's some practices that we have to train ourselves. And in that sense, we develop the protocol or the technique of relating to our child. And he has two in this book that I want to give the example of. And one is called the 1 minute reprimand. The other is the 1 minute praising. And so the title might suggest to you that parenting or the parent-child relationship, the child training can occur in 1 minute. And that's not what he is saying. He is saying that every minute counts. And some things only take a minute, but they're very important. And these are two that he really outlined in the book. And so I want to tell you, I'm going to read to you out of this about the 1 minute reprimand. So think of a situation where your child needs to be corrected in some way. You've got to address a situation. Something has happened. There's an attitude, an action, something that needs to be addressed by you. Imagine that first of all, before all of that happens, says, I tell my child beforehand that I am going to reprimand them when their behavior is unacceptable to me. And I encourage them to be just as honest with me. And so there's the landscape, is that they know ahead of time when something is out of bounds that you are going to address it and that it is expected. And so he says the first half of the reprimand, he says, is this. One, I reprimand the child as soon as possible. Now, that doesn't mean that always in the heat of the moment is the best time, but as soon as possible that you will address the situation. You will reprimand the child. Two, I tell them specifically what they did. Specifically what they did. And then three, I tell my children in no uncertain terms just how I feel about what they did. And that's very important. Your feelings put importance on the words. And so how you feel is very important. And communicating in no uncertain terms how it made you feel, but not with emotion, but with the emotional descriptive words. When this happened, I felt disappointed, or I felt betrayed, or I felt disrespected. Any number of things, but use the emotional words, how you felt about it. And then fourth, I'm silent for a few very long, unpleasant seconds to let them feel what I feel. Then, when I calm down, I touch my child in a way that lets them know that I'm on their side. See, that's the relational part. So that you're on the same team. And so then I remind my children that while their recent behavior was not good, that I think they are good. There's another relational thing. I believe in you. I like you. You are a good person. What we're addressing is the behavior, not your character. I tell my children, I love you, and I hug them, or some type of affectionate touch. Said, and when the reprimand is over, it's over. I don't bring it up again. And there's where sometimes we just go on and on and on. So, very specific. Later that day, I listen to whatever the child wants to tell me. So sometimes they have a feeling that they want to talk about. They want to talk about the situation. And so I realize that it may take me only a minute to reprimand my children with love. The benefits may last them for a lifetime. And so that's a 1 minute reprimand. And you'll find that the 1 minute praising is very much the same way. And that, the first components were, I let them know ahead of time when I see something that I'm going to, that I like, that they're doing well, that there's something worth praising, I'm going to tell them. I'm going to encourage them to do the same with me. It says, so number one, I catch my children doing something right. And that's a skill. Look for them doing something right. I tell my children specifically what they did that was praiseworthy. Specifically, not you're a good child, you did great on that test, or you're a smart person. You need to look at the specific incidents. Use those words. Catch them doing something right, tell them specifically what they did, then you tell them how good I feel. See that feeling part, their relational part, how good I feel about what they did. And then I stop talking for a few seconds to let them feel what I feel. Then I tell them I love them, touch them in a genuine, loving touch. And then when it's over, it's over. And we don't go on and on and on about it. But the feeling good about themselves may last them a lifetime. So learning how to do a quick, direct, specific reprimand, but also a quick, specific praising. There's a saying that praise is to children as sun is to flowers. And if you want your children to grow, look for those very specific things that you can directly and quickly praise them for. It will serve you well and will help them to grow. This is Dr. Roger Smith encouraging you to be a 1 minute parent. This is Dr. Roger Smith with Parenting Matters Now.
Subscribe to Parenting Matters Now for more advice, or go to rogersmithmd.com to search for more topics. See you next time.